You know how sometimes you see a car in the street or you see something go by and you just have to turn your neck twice to look at it? You know, some people describe it as a neck breaker, and I think this car is going to be one of those type of cars. The NSX is already going to be a very special car as it is, but when you look at its yellow wide-body NSX, it just makes you want to study it up close. When we got this car, it came from SOS. It's got the TVR supercharger, it's got all the performance goodies on it. The customer had it shipped there, and then from SOS it came to us, and then we are going to work our magic on the interior of the car. And then at the end of the video, you're going to notice this car is going to change colors. It's going to go from yellow to white. So follow along as we explain this crazy build to you guys, and I think you will really enjoy it. Hey guys, welcome to another episode on our channel. This is going to be our last video for 2024, and what a best way to cap it out with this NSX. This NSX came to us, it was yellow. Now as you can see, it's white, Grand Prix white. We get a lot of stuff to the car, and I'll go over the car with you guys in a little bit and show you some of the cool things. But as you can see, this car is a wide body NSX, so it's got the fender flares. We added the rock guards to it, so it's even wider than it stands. And then from the front view of this car, you can see the fenders are extremely wide. This is a pretty unique body kit. You don't see a lot of these kits out there. We did black accents on certain areas of the hood. Now, as you guys know, we specialize on interiors on the NSX, and this car has gotten the whole treatment pretty much. Everything you see inside the car was redone. The car came to us, it was actually a tan interior. A lot of these panels were tan. So example would be this section on the doors were tan. The sides of the center console were tan down here on both sides. So we dyed some of the fabrics to be black. We added all the carbon fiber trims on the car. And the coolest thing, besides all the trim and audio and all the stitching work, Ian, if you want to zoom in, you see the door panels. It's got the matching Alcantara on the doors as well. And then take a peek up top. Take a look at this thing on here. Ian, can you open the door? Just open the door. So take a look at the top of this thing. This thing used to be black and it was kind of ripped. So we did all some extra stuff. So this whole headliner has been reupholstered in red Alcantara, including the rear B-pillars here in the back. And then the visors were cracking, so we changed them all three pieces to carbon. So it has quite a nice contrast with it. And then the coolest part about this is when you're not using the visors, let's get these out of the way, you can see the A-pillars are carbon as well. So this whole car is basically treated out with pretty much everything you see in it. And then the last surprise is even the subwoofer box inside the car is carbon fiber. This runs one JL Audio 6W3 in a custom box that we built. And as you can see, all the carbon weave matches all around. And it's hidden when not in use, like this. Looking at the inside of this NSX, everything looks a little bit tired, a little bit worn. I mean, that's normal for a 30-year-old car, right? Most of the interior trims were bubbling, peeling, plastics were cracked. The factory dash panels cracked in multiple places. There was a lot of small issues with this car, and so we're going to completely overhaul it. That's our job. We're going to strip it down to its bare minimum, and then we're going to build everything back up. So this video will show you what we did, how we did it, and how the final product looks. So please join us as we follow along on this build. Even parked next to the Type S, the wide-body NSX looks super wide. It's definitely a head turner, and here are some last pictures of the car in yellow before we start the tear down process of removing the door panels, the bumpers, everything to get this thing painted. One thing to note is carbon fiber dash panels, not all of them are the same. Here's one that came with the car. You can tell there was a lot of Bondo. There were no screw posts. Everything was kind of just put together trying to make it work, and it's cracked in many places and brittle. Our dash panels are 100% carbon, installs like OEM, fits like OEM, and here you can see the difference between the two side by side. When it comes to painting this car, we want to do a really good job on it. So we tried to take everything off that we could. That included the bumpers, of course, the door panels, anything that we had to get to try to get this paint done correctly. The car, you can tell, originally was black. So the engine trim and those areas were black, and we didn't touch those areas. But everything else, we want to try to make it look as good as possible, fix up the damage. At the same time, address some of the missing screws and bolts that we saw along the way. For the interior, some of the pieces, in the interest of saving some money, we dyed some of these tan pieces to black because, like for example, the door panels and the large dash panel, those would all have to come out if we wanted to reupholster it. So for the door panels, we dyed the lower sections, same with the central part of the dash. So prior to paint, a lot of the little body cracks and mishaps are being taken care of here. The kit is fiberglass, so fiberglass cracks, the car sits very low. We saw a lot of imperfections and pinholes and other, damage to the body. So we fixed as much as we could. Then we removed all the door panels, mirrors, pretty much everything we need to paint prior to getting in the paint shop. The color we ended up going with was the Honda Grand Prix White, which is a factory color on the NSX S2000. Here was spraying each of the pieces in the car itself. You can see the door panels were removed. Once this is all done, you can see the car's coming back together. We accented with the black accents. So we repainted those areas in gloss black to give it a fresh look to it. One thing I'll say here is aftermarket body kits, wide body kits, they definitely don't go on the vehicle like OEM. So if you guys are used to taking the front bumper or rear bumper off the car, this is totally different. I think it took us 3 guys and probably a good couple hours to get this bumper off the car just because it wasn't bolted on using conventional means. The fun really begins putting the car back together. The customer spec'd this car out with pretty much gloss carbon accents, so we did the elbow pads, the power window trims, the interior door handles. We trimmed it out with black Alcantara contrast pieces, and at the same time we wanted to make sure each of these pieces looked good. So we also improved the door panels because the door panels had all cracked tabs. So we went with the Mida kit for the reinforced door panels, finished those pieces in carbon. You can see that really pops with the power window trims. So now these door panels look like $1 million and starting to go together now. We're not sure exactly what happened to this glove box inner liner because it was cracked everywhere. So we replaced it with an OEM type piece and then also upgraded the glove box at the same time since we're in the same area. This way it doesn't have to be replaced at a later date. Okay, so the car is now officially Grand Prix White and it's a stunner. I mean, everything looks good in Grand Prix White. The NSX is no exception. The car is out of the body shop. We pretty much got the car put back together now and the white paint just glistens. Now, if you remember, the car had a lot of tan leather parts and the headliner was the worst part because it was dirty, it was cracked, everything was kind of old and beat up a little bit. So we were thinking, what's the best way to give it a refresh? We thought about black Alcantara, we thought about red, and the owner finally approved the red color, which we think is a real eye stopper because it really pops with the black and then the carbon. What do you guys think? We love the red, but we didn't want red pillars because we thought that's too much red when viewed from the front of the car. So the pillars, the visors, all were turned into gloss carbon pieces. This way you got some contrast between the red Alcantara and the black carbon. As we're putting the rest of the interior together, now all the pieces come together, such as the amp rack here being finished up, and then it's bolted using factory bolt holes. Amplifiers installed, ready to go behind the seats. The door panels are by this point pretty much finished, so you can see all the assembled parts together. And once the speakers are done, we put the door panels back on and you're set. All right, so the interior is coming back together. You can see we're gonna have to put the passenger seat back in, headliners back in, amplifier, electronics, all the wiring is done. I mean, because this is a 30-year-old plus car, there's a lot of plastics that were brittle, so we had to fix a lot of things, such as the temp unit you see here. Some of the interior trims had to be fixed, but overall, you can see the whole interior is put back together. It looks brand spanking new now. Door panels look fresh. The headliner is fresh. There's no discoloration, no leather cracks, no problems with any of the trims being loose anymore. With builds like this, it's all in the details. And the details, everything down to the shift logo, you can see we embossed into the carbon. The side carbon vents that are on the ends of the dash. The knee bolster has been replaced. The steering wheel, the visors, the e-brake handle, the shift knob. Every little piece that's been done was carefully done to ensure the overall product looks amazing. With the whole interior now completed, the audio system sounds phenomenal. The double din radio, the J Audio 4-channel amplifier, the hidden subwoofer and the footwell. Every piece of this car was done correctly, and now the driver and the owner can really enjoy this car, whether he wants to listen to the audio system or the crazy loud exhaust system coming out of that supercharger. Taking a build like this from the beginning all the way through the process to the end takes a lot of patience, time, and work to get us to where you see it now. But I think the overall product was worth it. We hope the new owner really enjoys this car and gets some more miles down on the road with this thing. It looks amazing. We're gonna miss it, but we hope you guys enjoyed this build. Till next time, see you guys later. Bye-bye. Pickup day. We're getting the car picked up by transport. It's all finished. So again, you can show them the inside of the car. I'm gonna drive it outside. The car is going back to its